Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this webinar today on the Quad Fellowship by Schmidt Futures. My name is Preetika Satchar and I'm from the Yashna Trust Education USA Bangalore Center. And we are very, very delighted to be co-hosting this webinar along with our wonderful panelists from Schmidt Futures. To briefly introduce both of them, we have with us Daniel Holman and Sonia Tosar from Schmidt Futures, and they both will be talking to you very shortly about this wonderful fellowship opportunity for all of you. And you will have a chance to ask all your questions towards the end of the session. So to briefly introduce both Daniel and Sonia, Daniel Holman is the Manager of Talent Selection at Schmidt Futures. She is the founding selection leader of the Quad Fellowship, a first of its kind scholarship program for master's and doctoral students, and provides strategic advice and support to leaders of Schmidt Futures talent programs. We also have with us Sonia Tosar. She's an analyst at Schmidt Futures, where she supports program design and deployment of the Quad Fellowship. Thank you and welcome. We are delighted to be co-hosting this with both of you. Also, just to make a special mention today of our very, very supportive institutional partners who have joined us in this webinar. We have with us Professor Seshu, I believe from IIT Dharwad, and Professor Ganesan Kannambaran, Director Triple IT, Sri City Chittoor. Thank you so much for joining us, and we know you've been very encouraging of this fellowship and you've encouraged your students to join us for this webinar today. We also have students from other institutions participating here, so a very warm welcome to all of you, and we hope you find this session very useful, and please keep your questions for the end. Before I go any further and hand this over to our panelists from Schmidt Futures, I would just quickly like to talk to all of you about Education USA. So Education USA is a US State Department supported network of over 430 centers in more than 170 countries around the world. Education USA's mandate is to provide absolutely accurate, comprehensive, and current information on studying in the United States. In India, we have 8 Education USA centers, and a few of them, 5 of them actually, are managed by the US India Educational Foundation, also called USIEF. And these centers are located in New Delhi, Kolkata, Mumbai, Hyderabad, and Chennai. We also have 3 other centers in India independently managed. So these are Bangalore, Ahmedabad, and Hyderabad. And these are managed by Yashna Trust, IEES, and Y-Axis respectively. We will be sharing all the contact information with you. So if you have questions later about studying in the United States, you can contact all of our centers, any of our centers later. So if you could just change the slide, Daniel. Thank you. So this is the contact information for all the Education USA centers in India. Like I mentioned, we have 8 centers in total. You can see we have contact details here, email addresses, phone numbers of Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Mumbai, and New Delhi. So whichever is the closest Education USA center, please do contact that center. Yashna Trust Education USA Bangalore Center, which is co-hosting this webinar, is the official US State Department approved advising center in Karnataka. We'll also be sharing our details later with all of you. So please do take a screenshot of this page, and we'll also be pasting this information into the chat box shortly. So I think I can, hand this now to our 2 panelists who are waiting to talk to all of you about this wonderful, fellowship opportunity. So please reserve your questions, put them in the chat box, and we will take them towards the end of the session. Thank you. Over to you, Daniel and Sonia. Thank you.
Great. Hi, everyone. So happy to see you all here today. We have some really great numbers, and we're very excited to tell you about the Quad Fellowship. So in this session, we're going to provide an overview of the fellowship, its benefits, and the selection process. And as Preetika mentioned, we will leave time at the end for questions because we're sure you have a lot of them. So where did the Quad Fellowship come from? The Quad Fellowship is a new fellowship from the governments of Australia, India, Japan, and the United States. In 2021, the 4 Quad country leaders met for the Quad Leaders Summit at the White House in Washington, D.C. And coming out of that meeting, they announced many different ambitious initiatives to advance cooperation on 21st century challenges and to strengthen that exchange of innovation and ideas between the Quad countries. They also reinforced the belief that the key to achieving their big ambitions and solving these really big challenges was cultivating talent, particularly in STEM disciplines, and as such announced a first of its kind STEM fellowship called the Quad Fellowship. So where does Quad fit in? The next generation of talent is going to have several pressing challenges to address to promote the collective good, including ending the COVID-19 pandemic, promoting high standards infrastructure, combating the climate crisis, and partnering on emerging technologies, space, and cybersecurity. These are just some examples of the really big challenges coming our way. And to address these challenges, there needs to be a concerted approach to identifying and supporting the next generation of talent from the Quad countries. And that's where the Quad Fellowship fits in. So the fellowship will offer a comprehensive mix of financial and programmatic benefits. On the financial side, each fellow will receive $50,000 for tuition or other education or research related expenses. And they also have the potential for an additional $25,000 for needs-based funding to cover costs related to completing their graduate level studies. In addition to that, round trip airfare to any of the programming will also be covered within the bounds of the fellowship. In terms of the programmatic benefits, our program is really split up into 3 parts. So this November, we'll be announcing our first cohort of Quad Fellows. From the announcement in November of this year to the start of the academic year in the fall of 2023, fellows will go through a pre-program where they will take part in organized virtual programming to get to know each other and start forming connections, both within their country group and then across the Quad countries. And also we recognize that some of our fellows will already be in their degree programs, but many of our fellows will also be applying to graduate programs while they're also applying to the Quad Fellowship. And so in the few months when they know they're a Quad Fellow and before they've applied to their university program, we will provide support into navigating the university application process and set our fellows up with a graduate application advisor who can help with that. Then the core program will take place from the start of the academic year in about August of 2023 to the spring of 2024. And the core components of this program are as follows. So first, we start off with a multi-day residential experience in one of the non-US Quad countries. This is a 5-day experience for all 100 fellows to be in a room together and start being exposed to the key concepts of the Quad, talk to other fellows about the sorts of things that they want to work on, and hear from really amazing leaders, not just in the country they're in, but also in the other Quad countries in terms of what are the issues on the ground and how can they get involved. From there, throughout the academic year, fellows will take part in virtual programming that will deepen their understanding of topics at the intersection of STEM and society, provide opportunities for exposure, career opportunities, and networking with leaders in STEM, government, and the private sector, and allow fellows to share learnings and collaborate with each other. And this is going to be virtual. So we expect that our students are going to be, scattered across their different universities of the United States, but we are still committed to making sure our fellows have that ability to learn and hear from really great leaders and work together. Then in the spring of 2024, Quad Fellows will officially graduate onto the alumni program as senior fellows, which is a lifelong title. Senior fellows will have access to resources that support a growing network across Quad Fellowship cohorts and the Quad countries. And we'll have opportunities to come together and collaborate even once the fellowship year is complete. We recognize that our fellows are going to be amazing and they may come up with their most amazing innovation years out of the 1-year program they're with us. And so we're committed to continuing to offer that support throughout kind of the subsequent years. Great. So in terms of the timeline, so we opened our application in mid-March of this year, and applications are due June 30th. I'm going to say that again. Applications are due June 30th. So that's about 6 weeks away. And the reason that that kind of 6 weeks is so important is because Danielle will go into what the application entails, but one component of that is 3 recommendations. And of course, asking your recommender to, write you an application and having the time for them to do that kind of to the best of their abilities takes some time. So we recommend that you really start early and reach out to those folks early and start thinking about your application as soon as possible. From there, our selection process will take place between the end of June and October. And in this time, we will evaluate applications and advance selected applicants to the interview stages. Then in early November, we will announce the 100 fellows elect. We're going to accept 25 fellows per country. And then, as I mentioned, they will go into the kind of pre-program, and then finally in August of 2023, their residential experience and the core program. So now I'll hand it over to Danielle actually to talk a little bit about Schmidt Futures as an entity and our selection process, and then we'll be happy to take your questions.
Thank you so much, Sonia. So happy to be talking about this great program with you all. As Sonia mentioned, the Quad Fellowship was an idea of the Quad leaders of the 4 countries, but it is actually Schmidt Futures that is administering the fellowship. So who are we? Schmidt Futures is a philanthropic initiative of Eric and Wendy Schmidt that has a track record of creating talent programs that bet early on exceptional talent. A few examples include RISE, which is our talent program for brilliant youth between 15 and 17 years old, our International Strategy Forum, which is a program for problem solvers within the geopolitical space, and our Schmidt Science Fellows program, which is for postdoctoral students who are interested in the interdisciplinary sciences. So those are just a few examples of the ways in which we really identify the next visionaries within many different problem spaces and put them into community with each other and giving them resources and opportunities for them to advance their ideas. So future is in our name, and we really commit to investing in talent for the betterment of society and for the future. We have several corporate partners that have already committed to supporting the fellowship, including Accenture, Blackstone, Boeing, Google, MasterCard, and Western Digital, and several others that will commit along the way. So what makes the Quad Fellowship unique? There are several distinguishing factors of our program that make it really exciting, especially in this first year. So first, we are the first multinational scholarship program with the express support of the 4 national governments that is explicitly focused on STEM. So this is definitely a unique perspective and approach that we're taking to a type of scholarship program. Then there is the unique focus on STEM for social good. So thinking about the ways in which our fellows will be able to apply their research and make an impact on the world is really important to us, and we hope really important to the candidates that are applying to this program. We have among the highest financial awards compared to similar programs that are out there, and it's a very flexible award. So as Sonia mentioned, it's a $50,000 personal award that goes directly to the student that can be used for a variety of educational expenses, including but not limited to tuition, room and board during your graduate study, education-related travel, and it can be combined with other scholarships. So if you receive other fellowship scholarship awards, or you have other funding sources, it can be combined with the Quad Fellowship to make it an accessible experience for you. In addition, there is an opportunity to receive up to $25,000 in additional needs-based funding. Another element that makes our program unique is that we are recruiting equally across the 4 countries. So even though the sizes of the 4 countries are quite different, we want to make sure that there's a true cross-cultural exchange and cross-country representation in the program. So we will recruit 25 fellows per country for the program each year, for a total of 100 fellows per year. And then lastly, we are excited about the unparalleled opportunities that we're offering our fellows to connect with global leaders in a variety of fields that impact, being able to solve the next challenges. So leaders in STEM, in government, business, and social impact. So there are several reasons why it's a great opportunity to support Quad Fellows at a university to pursue this pathway. So one will be, developing the next generation of leaders in STEM and in society. So we really believe that we are making an investment in talent that will be able to solve really pressing challenges. And so we are hoping that universities that are on the line here are excited about that opportunity to partner with us. We are really committed to that focus area of STEM for social good. And so we're excited about partnering with organizations and with universities that also have that mission in mind. It's a chance for elevating the cutting edge research that is already happening and really investing in talent that can push that research forward. The opportunity for the fellows to receive additional funding makes graduate study much more affordable, which of course for international students studying in the United States is always a concern of, pursuing a program that is not at home and far away. So we really want to make sure that we are making our program and this opportunity to pursue graduate study and advanced research accessible for any students that are committed, excited, and selected for this program. And then lastly, we believe that our fellowship is working in partnership with universities to set students up for success. So we aren't a standalone solo experience that the students are going through, but really in conjunction with the university that they attend and the many mentors that they already have. We hope to all work together to really set our fellows up to be successful, certainly during their graduate studies and beyond. So we have several things that we're looking for. Hopefully something you've said has piqued your interest in quad and you're wondering, okay, what are the selection criteria? So I'll go through those. We have 4 pillars of selection criteria. The first, of course, is academic excellence in STEM. So all of our fellows will be pursuing graduate study at the master's or doctoral level. So we want to make sure they're equipped and ready for that experience in an academic capacity. But just as important to us is that passion for the intersection of science and society. So we're looking for candidates that certainly have an interest in pursuing or applying their work for social good, but also perhaps have had experience before. So whether that's certainly in your research, but also in your extracurricular activities. So whether you've been a part of a student organization, internship, professional experience that shows your commitment to helping and serving others and to make, improve quality of life for others or to impact the world in a positive way. Those are the things that we want to hear about in the application, and we're hopeful for in creating this community where fellows can learn from each other. The third thing that we are looking for is a capacity to bridge differences. So there's a reason that we're not just the Quad Prize awarding individuals for their brilliance, but we are a fellowship because we believe in the power of community and connecting fellows from different backgrounds, different countries, different disciplines and experiences together so that they can learn from each other, share ideas, and also make their ideas better. There's so much research and data that show that collaboration, particularly in diverse groups, is better for society and better for outcomes. And so we firmly believe that and are excited to bring together fellows that want to be a part of this type of network. And then lastly, an orientation towards results. So we're excited about fellows who are ready to get things done. So it's great to have wonderful ideas, but just as important is execution and acting on those ideas. So we are looking for candidates that have already had a track record of success of producing positive results in their work. So we'll get into the eligibility requirements. First, applicants must be at least 18 years of age at the time of application. The exciting thing about this is there's no application maximum. So if you are a current undergraduate student and will graduate before August of 2023, you're eligible. But if you have graduated from university a while ago, you've been in your professional career for a few years, and now you want to return to graduate study, that is also a profile that we'll accept, and the application is open for you as well. Next, all of our applicants must be citizens or permanent legal residents of one of the 4 Quad countries, so Australia, India, Japan, or the United States. Third, applicants must have completed their bachelor's degree in a STEM field by August of 2023. The STEM fields that are eligible for our program are listed on the right-hand side of this slide. The big area that is often a question is about clinical healthcare degrees. So doctors of medicine or masters in nursing and other clinical degrees. So those are outside the bounds of our fellowship, but you can see the programs denoted on the right-hand side. And if you have any questions, we'll provide our contact information. Eligibility tends to be a big question. And so we want to make sure that folks know what the requirements are and whether they might be eligible. So we're happy to answer those questions if you have them. Next, demonstrated record of superior academic achievement. So we are looking for students that have been high performers in their undergraduate experience. And then this goes into the second piece. So if you are currently enrolled in a master's or PhD program in the United States and will continue to have at least one more year of your program, you're eligible to apply. And we would require both your master's or PhD transcript as well as your undergraduate transcript. So we would look at both of those things. But this opportunity is open for students that are graduate students, provided that they are in an eligible STEM field program in the United States. So that's very important to note. I know we're hosting this session actually from our hotel room in Bangalore right now. And so we know that we have mostly fantastic Indian applicants on the, or prospective applicants on the line. So we want you to know that if you are currently in a PhD or master's program at an Indian university, the only way to be eligible is if you are anticipating doing another degree program or a joint degree program with a US university, or if you're planning to start your studies in the US for your graduate degree. I'll get into the selection process. So the online application includes a variety of pieces that we will evaluate, and then we'll have additional steps to the process. So first, applicants must submit their transcript, 3 letters of recommendation, essays, a resume, and TOEFL scores if applicable. If you've attended in a university at which English is the language of instruction, then you do not need to submit your TOEFL scores. Regarding the 3 letters of recommendation, 2 must be from professors or lecturers that have instructed you in your coursework or advised you on research. And then the third, you have flexibility to choose another type of contact. So you could choose a third professor, or you might choose someone who's a professional contact. So perhaps this can be an internship advisor, a former employer, a mentor, someone else who knows you well and can speak to your academic abilities, your character, and your fit for this program. After we receive all of the applications, they'll go through an expert review where we have leaders in the various STEM disciplines evaluating applications and recommending candidates to advance. So we want to make sure, a physics, potential physicist, their application is read by someone who is an expert in their field. So that's why we have this step. In addition, we have interviews. So the first will be a one-on-one interview with an academic in the student's intended field to focus again on their academic performance. And then there'll be a panel interview designed to assess our other selection criteria. So that the passion for the intersection of STEM and society, the capacity to bridge differences, and the orientation towards results. At the end of our process, we will select 25 fellows per country to join our inaugural Quad Fellow cohort. So how do you apply? First, confirm you're eligible, and I'll navigate back to the eligibility page in just a moment. Second, complete the online application form by the deadline of June 30th at 5 p.m. I want to stop there for a moment and note June 30th might seem, several weeks away, far away, but it's actually pretty close. It'll sneak right up on you. So we really encourage you to start the application now, see the questions, get started on your essays, and most importantly, giving your recommenders time to start their recommendations. So if you're excited about this program, we encourage you to hop on our website, start the application, and let your professors know as soon as possible that you're interested in this program so that they have time to complete their portion of the application, because recommendations are also due on June 30th, and you don't want to be, texting your professor on June 29th, worried that it's not going to be submitted in time. So it is important for you to kind of get an early start, but don't worry about it, not having enough time, because it's 6 weeks away. So you certainly have a great opportunity to put forward a really fantastic application. From there, you'll await next steps, and we'll select applicants to advance to the interview stage. I will stop there. Again, I said I'll navigate back to eligibility requirements, because I know that's where a lot of our questions come, but we'll also transition to our Q&A. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and thank you to Yashna Trust for co-hosting this session. And we're really excited to share more about this new opportunity. Thank you all so much. So I'll have us transition to the Q&A. I don't know.
Yes, thank you, Daniel and Sonia. So we have actually a lot of questions. So